Welcome back. You're watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. Our consultant on this segment, Mr. David Miner from PureFlow. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Anne.
Today we're talking about setting the standard in business in the new year. Just taking our businesses that step higher, going farther on the road to success. And maybe we can start by just defining those two words. It means setting the standard. What is standard? Because I guess it can vary.
Setting the standard, I think, is an important place for us to discuss new beginnings. You know, we're in a new constitutional dispensation, a new economic dispensation. And the reason why we voted for this new constitution is to have new beginnings and a new platform for growth. So the first thing we'd like to look at is, so what's new? And actually, it's the standards that are new. The standards of living, the standards of quality that we expect as consumers, the standards of and levels of business. And so this word standard, if we can demystify it, it will be important. So the word standard actually means a level. And you determine the level of something by measuring it. You have to have a base from which you're measuring, and then you say this is the new level. So what's the old level? The old level is what we had yesterday. So standards are those things that help us to say we will perform at this particular level, whether it is quality, whether it is time, whether it is service levels, and so on.
In the earlier segment, I was speaking to Robert from Nyati Bicycles, and one of his greatest challenges, he said, was corruption. How do we, say no to something like that, even as we're, growing our businesses?
Going back to the word standard and level or bar, raising the standard, the level. I think it's important for us to know that when you want to improve things, you must improve them in wholesomeness, in totality. You can't have a good meal if the salt levels are not right. The garnishings are not proper if the quality of the side dish is not as good as the main dish. And I think that's really what we're saying here with corruption. As we raise the bars, we raise the level of our standards, we must then be able to get rid of this thing that makes our meal not as tasty as it should be. And with corruption, we have to deal with it decisively, because not only is it the deficiency of morality or ethics, but actually it spoils the food. It actually ruins the profitability, it ruins the ethical manner in which we deal with each other. So we break trust. When trust is broken, we begin to break the essence of coming together for business. So it's something we have to destroy. But today's businesses that want to be there tomorrow have to set a standard on ethics. They must say, we're not only corruption-free on the wall, on the sticker, on the plaque on the wall, but we don't practice it. And believe you me, I know several businesses that have made that stand, and they are corruption-free, and they do extremely well. So the more ethical you are, the more you take that stand publicly, the more you attract the right kind of businesses, the right kind of suppliers, the right kind of clients who tell their friends, I think you better deal with Robert, because he does things straight, and he's going to be able to sustain his business because we know he's doing it the right way.
People talk about standard. What are we benchmarking against? Is it, or should we benchmark against anything?
There's two kinds of thinking when you talk about business in terms of business growth. There's incremental thinking where we say every year I want to be 5% better than I was last year. And that's fine. It has a place. But when you want to change standards and grow, we talk about zero-based. It means we go down to zero and say, not what we did last year and how good we are on that, but what should we be doing in an ideal situation. And so when you talk about zero-based, actually you're saying, what are the standards out there that I need to beat? The very first standard is your customer's expectation. I don't want to be theoretical and say, world-class standards is the one to benchmark against the next best company or the best in the market. The first standard is your customer's expectation. Beat that standard, and your customer won't care about which world-class standard or not that you're meeting. Then you want to see, am I on the right track in terms of what the industry is doing? So the industry standards, am I on the right track in terms of what is being done in other parts of the world? The world-class standards, Once you've set those standards, they are in different disciplines, whether it's finance, customer service, whether it is my marketing standards or my communication standards. How often do I communicate with my clients? What kind of language do I use? Are we over-promising and under-delivering? Once you get through whichever discipline that you are looking at, you will then find that they are already established standards. Now, if you perform at those standards, you're a pretty good company. But the difference between good and great is if you exceed those standards, and most importantly, as I said earlier, if you exceed your customers' expectations.
I have considered the standards that I am benchmarking against, and of course my customer is dictating. How will I know that I have achieved these things that I have set for myself?
The best feedback that one can get on how well they're doing is from others, both internal and external others. Internal, if your own team members, your own employees, your own staff, your suppliers begin to say, you know, I think this is much better than it was. I think this work is flowing better. I'm getting better comments from those that I deal with. That's the first really good sign that you're on the right track. The other good internal sign is that you must see the fruit then of what you planted and the seed that you planted. External feedback is the other one that's really important. And of course, the first external person we want to hear from is the customer. We need to hear, are they feeling that there's a difference? You know, are they not calling you to say, I can't believe that you still haven't, you know, delivered this service to us, or that you haven't sorted this problem that I complained about? Are you getting letters from anonymous people who say, I just want to thank you and let you know that you guys are doing a great job? Once you get that kind of feedback, or I've seen an improvement, I can be better, that's still good feedback. Then you know you're on the right track. But internally, how can you monitor? Once you establish the standard, you've got to implement it. That means you've got to make sure that those who need to achieve what you've set as a standard are doing it on a regular basis and consistently. You need to audit them. You can have an internal audit. You can have a mystery guest or mystery shopping program where you send people who are not known to your staff for them to know, to identify if those standards are being met. You know, you can also conduct surveys. And this is where we need to also move into a bit of research. The last thing I think you need to do is obviously assess. You need to have a place where you say, we started here. This was not so good. We implemented it. Has there been any change? Let's assess it. Let's put some measurables to it, a percentage of improvement, or there's one less customer complaining a month than it was 3 months ago. So there's some improvement. Is it enough? Maybe not. We need to do some more to make sure that those complaints reduce. And so you need to actually measure it and then quantify the gains. Otherwise, you don't really know if it's subjective. If you say, I think it's better, it feels better, maybe the complaints aren't coming because people got tired, not because they got better. So when you measure it, then you really know what's happening.
David Maina, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
You've been watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. We're also interested in setting the standards and raising our bar. So kindly give us feedback on the address on your screen. We'll be very happy to hear from you. Have a great week. God bless.
Road to Success is brought to you by Equity Bank.
Equity Bank, your listening, caring partner.